Should we sit a little bit closer?
Yes, I'm just.
But our chairs are like.
Yeah,
a fixed width.
Are we live?
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
If you see us and the sound is good, please say hi.
Nice.
Okay, good. Yeah, let's testing 1, 2, 3. Yeah, can you hear us well? So as you can see, we are in a different room right now. If we can open the actual video.
The actual video thing.
Page, yes. So to see. Mute the sound.
Yeah.
Only 3 watching.
Okay.
We're good?
4. Yeah.
Or
maybe wait. So let's wait.
Oh, there!
6. We'll wait for a little bit until some more people joining us. But you can see our background is in a different room. Actually, this is the room for the BCS student specifically. So only the BCS students can get in, which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes the undergraduate or the graduate student ask, why we are in the CS building and this room we cannot get in even we have the student card. And that's a fact that this room is reserved for BCS students. And only BCS students with their UBC card, yeah, like this. Yeah, there is chip inside. So it's an IC card that, so your access is encoded in this card and this room, yeah, only BCS students can get in. So that's your privilege. Later we will show, we'll show around this room for you. So you can see it's a very big room actually, and it's good to have workshop or like group activities or even playing games here. And
please do write your questions at the bottom of the Google Docs. We've tried to answer some of them directly in the Google Docs, but if you'd like us to touch on them, to talk about them, just feel free to copy and paste them below.
We got 7 people out there. Hello, everybody.
Maybe just 2 minutes.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. So there are questions coming.
Game theory.
Yeah. Okay, I think we should start. Yeah.
Let's start. Introductions.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So we'll get started. So we'll start with same as introductions for ourselves. So my name is Lin. I'm currently BCS tutor for summer, and it's my pleasure to be here to give you this Q&A session. So I came from a biology and a neuroscience background. I earned my master in neuroscience from UBC about 5 years ago. When I worked for 2 venture capital investment firms, and eventually I feel I want to be the side of that be invested, the side of the product creation. So I jump in this I feel it's a very good program, and I enjoy a lot with people here. Smart. Okay.
Hi there, I'm John. I just finished my first year in the BCS program. My prior degree was in pharmacy, and I worked as a pharmacist for about 1.5 years. And then after that, I tried out software development at a digital health startup just to see if I liked it. And I did, and then after that, I got into the program, and I'm doing my bridging module in math.
So when you come here in the fall, I'll be planning all your social events. I did my first degree in mathematics at Waterloo, and I decided to come here and do some computer science after a few years of working on and off. So yeah, my bridging module is going to be in video game design development kind of area. So a lot of fun things to look forward to.
Yes, yeah. Just add, so my bridge module is in machine learning. Yeah, quite similar with John. Yeah, so should we show them the room first? Maybe?
Yeah, let's show them around.
Okay. So I'm going to move the camera a little bit so you can see this room.
By the way, there's free whiteboard markers here in the whiteboard, so it's really good for technical interviews as well.
So now you can see actually this whiteboard. So you see BCS live stream, but you also see quite a few writing there, which is by Lisa. So she is doing the tutorial for Computer Science 221, which is about data structure and algorithm. So you can see like the loop, the B plus tree, heap, hash, breadth search, adaptive first search. You're going to this definitely one day. So this room, yeah, and we have refrigerator, we have microwave, we have coffee machine, we have a secured file folder, and we have printers, which are actually free for use, but don't print too much. And we have also monitors and a couch and quite a bunch of chairs and another whiteboard. Yeah, so basically that's the room, which is reserved for BCS students. And here's
big windows.
But the view definitely is not that good, but it's still good. Yeah, we have a very delighted lighting from outside. Okay. So is this good now?
No.
More?
Yeah. That's all. Oh.
Good.
Yeah, that should be good.
Okay.
Okay, so shall I get started on the first question here? Okay, so I see here some of these written here. Here's one of my responses to one of the previous questions, and it's about summer internships at big N companies. And for those of you who are not familiar with the term big N, it came from accounting and referred to some of the biggest accounting firms like Deloitte and PricewaterhouseCoopers. But in tech, it typically refers to Google, Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Airbnb, those companies. So the question here, are these big N companies part of the co-op listings as well, or do we have to apply to these internships on our own? So I'll take a crack at it, and then I'll give the mic over to these two. The co-op, so when you register for co-op, you'll have exclusive access to their job board, and their job board has more than 200 jobs on it. And they're from a variety of local companies and as well as large companies. I would say it's hard for me to say at this moment because I've only seen the co-op postings for fall internship or fall co-op positions. And I know that most company in the States, they don't really have that many. So there might be more for the summer internship positions. but aside from that, I did see Tesla on there. I did see companies which are subsidiaries of Amazon or Google there as well, and they're fairly niche and very specific, like this very neat sounding like lab that specializes in machine learning. So you get to see some interesting things there. But yeah, it's not that many. It's primarily local companies in Vancouver. So one option is to not do your internships through the co-op program and instead apply to internships directly on your own through the company website. I generally do not recommend doing it through the company website, but rather going through a recruiter, because a friend of mine says that'll give you the highest chance of success, even if you have like the same resume and same credentials and skill set. It's best to try and find the recruiter's email through LinkedIn or wherever you can find it, and apply and send them an email. And try to build up a relationship. So yeah, that's always an option to, especially for positions in the United States.
Yeah. So I can add some more information about this. So let's start with what is actually a co-op and how does it compare with the general internship. So co-op is, as you can see, is a system that's supported by universities. So at UBC, there are a specific department or like people from university that are trying to hunt the job openings from various companies, not just locally, but also cross country and even in the US and even in Europe or anywhere. So you can see that the choices or the options from the co-op pool is actually quite amazing. And many jobs we won't see them online because those jobs are directly won by the co-op agencies from the companies who want to hire students for internships. So especially some small like startups, they won't post this internship or the co-op position on their website, but you can get them from the co-op job portal. So that's one advantage of a co-op, that it's a one-stop shop, and you will have advisors, you will have your supporters who will help you to prepare the documents, to prepare you for interviews and prepare you for how to get the job done. So there's one question that said, who do we contact regarding co-op? And obviously, yeah, so co-op is there's a department in the university specifically doing this. So you will receive information, I think, very soon to your email regarding when you should start to register for co-op and what you should do step by step. That being said, you are free to choose not to do in co-op. So co-op is not counting as credit. So co-op is just one form of internship that the university will help you to establish your first job. But you're also free to apply for internship by yourself through the company website and through recruiters or your friends in the companies. So as John said, recruiters will give you a much higher chance of getting the interview. That's definitely true, because if you apply through online, it will get a pre-screening, and then you will still go to recruiters or people do HR. Basically, they are recruiters. So if you can get recruited first, they may just pass your resume to the management or to the actual people making decision. Then you can jump out of this pre-screening process. By the end, it's still about interview. So yeah, so also as John mentioned that for big companies like Microsoft, Amazon, Google, Facebook, that's exactly right. That right now, if you apply for the summer, so the next summer, so summer 2019 internship, you have to start the application in this September. And so there's a very tight time window, and that's all the big companies do it because they have so many applications going through, and they need some time to process that. But there are also many other opportunities in local, in Toronto, in the east side or in the US, which only start to accept the application in January. So you still have a great chance to get into the company. Then, honestly, your first internship or your first co-op doesn't matter that much whether it's in a big company or in a small company. As long as you learn something, you establish your reputation, and it helps you. You do something meaningful, not just testing, but actually getting involved in a real project, and that will help a lot. And so, yeah, so if you're really worried about co-op or interested about how to get prepared for internship, I believe there are a bunch of resources online to start preparing for especially coding interview right now. So yeah, you just search that. I think John already posted some link about like the lit code and some websites help you how to improve your coding skills. But if you have no computer science background or very limited computer science background, then it's better you start first to learn some language or skill sets or the data structure exam. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I just want to go back to the co-op postings. So a lot of the big companies, since they hire or start their hiring process in September for the next year, the co-op, our co-op postings only open 4 months before. So a lot of the big companies that have been hiring a year before aren't on our co-op posting boards. Some of the companies, such as Tesla, you said, and I think there was 1 or 2 other big companies on there, they're hiring for fall. They'll start hiring before, but if they have any leftovers, they'll post on our board. Yeah. So if you are looking for one of the big companies, it's probably best to start those applications by yourself. You can still be in the co-op program if you are looking for a company on your own. And then when you get an offer, you just go through the co-op office and they will work through that with you. Yeah. So you are allowed to apply to your own findings. Like if you find a job and you want to apply to it, you can apply to that even if you are in the co-op program, and then the co-op office will work through that with you.
Yeah. And we do see Amazon, Google, Facebook in the summer co-op postings. It's just so it seems like they will reserve several seats for the co-op. So yeah, even you miss the September time window, in January you can still apply for the summer internship at these big companies. Yeah. It's just the competition will become maybe worse because it's more like a first come first served basis. Once like Microsoft, so Microsoft for this year it's quite weird, quite like dramatic. They recruited all the internship students by last September, and for this year. So that means like there's no chance you can get into Microsoft by co-op positions. But Amazon, they still have openings like in January for summer position. So yeah, and if you are not restricted to Vancouver, if you are open to US or the Toronto, the Canada side, then you have much higher chance to get in. Like Amazon still have an opening for this fall now. So you can, if you are aiming for, like for example, September 2019, you can start applying for that job in Seattle in the summer of 2020.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go on to the next question here. So how do we apply for the mentorship program and when is the due date? This individual is probably referring to the Try Mentorship program, and I've added a link there for those of you who aren't previously aware of this program. So I've done the Try Mentorship program as a junior mentee. And how it works is you get paired with somebody who's working in the industry. So that's your main mentor, and then you'll have somebody who's a senior student in the BCS program, and then there's going to be you. So 3 people. And what you'll be doing is you'll meeting up with these people periodically throughout the entire term. and it's kind of up to the mentees to decide what to talk about and how to drive the conversation, what they want to get out of it. Career advice, interview advice, resume reviews. So those are some of the things that I did. And I guess, and I generally found it helpful, especially when it came to resume reviews and interview advice, because these people are often in hiring roles, so they can tell you a lot about what goes in their head, what goes on in their heads when they're interviewing a candidate and looking at the resume. So I encourage people to apply for it if you feel like you can help drive that conversation and engage with your mentors. Otherwise, it won't be very useful if you just go to the mandatory events and don't really take too much out of it. So how do you apply for it? So there's going to be an online form emailed to you, and when it's the due date? The due date will, well, I don't know the exact due date. They'll email that to you as well. You're not going to be able to miss it because they're going to email every single BCS student.
Yeah.
So that's my answer to that question.
So it will be September. So for BCS students, the opening is in September. There will be a reception opening event, and you'll meet your mentors or mentee in the event, and yeah, you start from there. So so I have been senior mentee, or senior student mentor there, paired with a junior student and an industry mentor, who is a software development manager at a big company. So yes, you need to be proactive, because especially the industry mentor, they will be extremely busy with their own duties at the company, with their family. So it's all up to you. And if you stay silent, or if you are waiting for help, then this program won't have too much. But you are proactive. You start the conversation. You send your questions, or you set up the meetings with your mentors, and they'll be extremely helpful, especially because they are in the industry and they know what is happening. It's very different from what is happening in the school, what you are learning, because what you're learning haven't changed for decades, I believe, for most of them. But for the information in the industry is changing rapidly in these years. So they can give you a hint, like what to be prepared and what to bring up to the tables for your future career and for your future employers.
I never did the mentorship program, so
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's at your free will.
Yeah.
And then I guess the next question about how you contact Co-op, I posted some of the details there. Please send them an email, and they're very happy to talk to students.
Yeah, they're also very helpful.
They'll answer all of your questions about Co-op.
Yeah.
All right. Next question is popular bridging module options that are non-science besides commerce. This is hard for me because I don't know anybody else taking, like, aside from commerce, I don't know anybody else who's taking non-science bridging module courses. So I'll relay this question to these two. Here.
It depends what you mean by non-science. So yeah, I'm doing mine in the graphical design sort of area, graphical development. So I am taking a creative writing course, 310, which is video game narrative. I haven't taken it yet. Hopefully I'll take it soon. Then I'm going to be I took a game theory and decision-making course sort of for the logic behind the video game. So it's a philosophy course. And then I am just taking some of the computer science, so computer graphics and computer animation I'll be taking, and then the capstone course, which if you play, like the capstone, you're taking it right now, right? If you play it right, it's a 60 credit course, and 3 credits can be counted towards your non-computer science bridging. So that's sort of my plan. I've heard a lot of fun bridging modules. If you haven't joined the Piazza page, we have a Piazza page. It's BCS 101. It's the link is.
Yeah, sent it.
You've been sent the link. So yeah, so you can join the Piazza page. There's a whole forum on there about bridging modules, so of all the things that people have taken or people are taking. And some people are a lot more creative with their bridging. I know a lot of people, like you're doing stats and math, and a lot of people do the commerce, but some people on there are doing some really interesting bridging modules. So I would encourage you to go and look at that.
So I'm thinking about the driving force. Why is asking this question? So I guess it's more like actually bridging modules. It doesn't necessarily to be linked to your future career path, because it's more like to help you expand your horizon, like beyond computer science. Because the BCS program was designed in the way that it doesn't want to be just train people as a coder, but more of that to bring more value to the table. So that's why you have to choose several credits of bridge module that is outside the computer science department, which can prepare you as more diverse working force. So popular. And I think why people are choosing commerce and machine learning the most, because the commerce definitely everything is about business. Even in the software industry, every decision in the end is about business. Like what tech stack you choose, what language you choose, what tool sets, which cloud platform. It's all about business. And for machine learning, that's a very hot topic right now. But unfortunately, as Joe and me discussed in last session, this bridging module in machine learning is not going to bring you a real machine learning job. It's more like open a door for you, and if you are really interested in the field, you get a taste for it, and you can go deeper in that direction to get a PhD, or you can go to the other direction in the data science field, which is not that demanding as machine learning scientist, but still requires a more specialized path. And there are people choosing like video gaming design or family program. So bridge module actually is very flexible. You just talk to Steve. There are people choosing Japanese, Spanish as their bridge module. And as long as you can make a story of that, why this course will help you for your future career, or why you think it may help you, then Steve will approve that. So don't worry too much about whether it will be so coherent, so like science. You are basically 99% free to choose what you want. And that's the truth. Like Spanish, Japanese. People heard that the first time don't think that that's computer science related, but actually you can make an argument for that. For example, you want to work in Japan in the future, or you want to work for a Japanese company in the future, or yeah. So you can always make story, and as long as the story is sound, Steve will approve it. Yeah.
All right. What are some good options to fulfill the upper year elective requirements for promotion to fourth year? So what is a good option to fulfill the upper?
I think for the fourth year, there's a hard line about what you have to take.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So I think there's the I think based on what's posted, you have to take like one upper year elective to get promotion to fourth year. So what are some good options? Yeah, whichever. Okay, so I guess first you want to filter the courses by what's actually possible based on what you're planning to take, because not all computer science courses will be accessible in your first year. For instance, if you take the challenge exam, you will be able to take 310. Well, actually, 310 is a core course. It's not a very good example in this. Yeah. You'll be able to take 304 and other courses, I guess. but if you don't take 110, then you'll kind of be limited to 302 and 303, I believe, and those are the scientific computing courses. So I guess to answer that question, just filter first based on what's actually possible, and then you'll have like a set of 2 or 3 courses to choose from, and usually you'll be able to figure out which one is the best for you from there, because there's only so many courses to pick from. So that's my answer to that. I hope that that'll help in some capacity. Do you two have any answers for this?
What was your upper year elective?
My upper year elective,
304, that is 304, 3.
Because it doesn't have to be computer science, right?
Yeah.
It can be any.
It can be, you mean?
Yeah, so it's upper year elective.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can take.
I think there's more like
when you're bridging,
up to their choices.
Yeah,
it's not a big deal.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was a computer science one.
No, because I haven't taken any. Oh wait, have I taken any elective computer science? I don't think I've taken any elective computer science, and I'm going to be 4th year, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, let me revise my previous statement. You can take any course that you'd like for your that makes sense for your bridging module. But by upper level elective, they are talking about 300 or 400 level courses.
A follow-up question: does English 301 count?
Oh, I don't think you can.
You can't double count it because it's going to be your upper level communication requirement.
Yeah.
And your upper level communication can't also be your elective.
Yeah. All right.
So the math.
Okay, so next question is, how much upper level math do you actually use as a software engineer? I'm asking because I don't have to do math 200 to 21, but I'm planning on keeping it anyways, wondering how useful these courses will be in the future. So I'll say that of course, it'll depend on which field you're planning on going into. So if you want to open up your opportunities for some of the more fields in artificial intelligence or machine learning, then calculus and linear algebra are going to be core maths skills to have. When you enter into those fields, and I think you're gonna need to use it especially if you're going to be in research-based roles. I can't really speak much in terms of other computer science fields. I guess if you want to go into more scientific computing fields, then you're probably going to need linear algebra. It's fairly common. Calculus is. I don't know. They're pretty applicable to a lot of research-based computer science fields. But as I'm gonna speak in terms of my background as a full stack developer. So if you want to, the majority of jobs are going to be like full stack development, or like you're going to be backend developer working on Java code or whatever. It's not going to be too useful. I don't think I've ever had to use any advanced maths for those roles, because most of what's applicable is like what you kind of learn on your own separate from the curriculum. So like how to learn the programming language, how to construct large systems, distributed systems might be one that would appeal to you. But yeah, that's my best answer for that. It really depends on which fields you're interested in.
Yeah, and another thing too is if you look at some of the upper year courses, a lot of them have Math 200 or 221 as prereqs. So if you could just go through and look at the ones that you want to take, and if those don't require the Math 200, 221, they're probably not going to be useful in your field, because the courses that you're going to be taking during your school are usually going to be the ones that you're interested in your future field as well. Yeah, so even if you look at the ones being offered in the fall, just look at the upper year ones, and a lot of them do require Math 200 or 221. So if any of those are sort of interesting to you, I would recommend taking the math courses, and if they aren't, you're probably not going to use them anyways. So Yeah, that's sort of my 2 cents.
Even you're not going to do graphics and machine learning, but so you already said you are going to take those courses, which is perfect because I do believe like even Math 200 is some basic calculus stuff, and 221 for linear algebra is also very basic linear algebra. So I would say for any people with from a science background, we should be equipped with these skill sets, which is just basic college or high science or high math, and you don't know whether you are going to deal with graphics or machine learning in one day. You actually don't know, like you just don't know. And if you are equipped with those skill sets, it will definitely help you to crack into the fields in one day. Like so for example, right now many front-end developers or back-end developers are actually starting to learn to understand what is machine learning. So you may not going to do machine learning your own project, but in 5 years, if you don't understand that, maybe you'll feel you're like dinosaur age. Just like now, if you don't know maybe version control or whatever. So yeah, so highly recommended taking Math 200 and Math 221. This is just some basic math education you need to take as your science background.
Yeah. Okay. Next question is, which philosophy courses best complement computer science courses? I guess the ones on logic, possibly. Other than that, I can't really comment on this because I haven't taken.
Yeah, I've only taken the game theory and decision-making philosophy course, but I know a lot of the people in the BCS program do take philosophy courses to complement the COGS. So if you are, I'm not even too sure, the COGS-related philosophies. I'm not too into the philosophy scene.
I think we should just
skip it for now. Maybe come back.
Yeah, it might be good to actually post it on Facebook because there's a lot of students. I think there are some students who are taking philosophy courses, so I think you'll be able to get a better answer there.
Also on Piazza.
Yeah.
Piazza is also a good one. Yeah. All right. In general, what's more time-consuming, stats or comp sci courses? Okay, so. I would divide it this way: project-based courses and just your regular courses with assignments. So your regular courses with assignments, those are Comp Sci 221, Comp Sci 213, Stats 302, Stats 200 has web work. So I would kind of put them in the same group in terms of amount of time. I guess for the Comp Sci courses, they would have a couple of programming assignments, and depending on your understanding of the material, it can take a really short amount of time, or it could take a really massive long amount of time. So there's some variability for the Comp Sci courses. For the project-based Comp Sci courses, I would say it's a lot more time-consuming. Typically because it's they're sort of like it'll be sort of like your first real project, and you'll kind of be like debugging late at night at 2 a.m. and things are going wrong. You don't know why, and it turns out you omitted a semicolon somewhere else, or instead of a plus you have a minus. So for those reasons, I feel that project-based Comp Sci courses tend to be a lot more time-consuming. So those would be Comp Sci 210, 310. 304 has a project and it's open-ended and it can be as complex as you would like it to be. And then there's 410 as well. 410 is not very reliably offered by the faculty, but if it did exist, then it would also be another example of a project-based course. Yeah.
In general, definitely computer science. That's a hard answer, no doubt.
Yeah.
Statistics more like math. you do homework, you do online assignments, you go to the exams, then you're done. But for computer science, you have to do projects and do tutorial, labs.
Oh yeah, labs.
And,
Labs is another thing.
So actually, I think most of you are already started maybe looking into computer science 110. So 110 seems very easy, but it's so time consuming if you actually go through all the online modules, all the practice, all the assignments. Yeah, it's 4 credits, but it's way more time consuming, I feel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Labs is also another factor. 110 has labs, and people say that they are very time consuming. It's a couple of hours a week in a room, and then
and it's a different way of thinking things. So statistics is more like it's a math, but computer science is thinking from the machine perspective. Yeah. Anyway,
yeah. I think also sort of with that question is that you're going to be majoring in computer science, and it's something you really need to know for your future. So you're going to spend more time on it because obviously you're interested in computer science coming here. So it's definitely going to be something you're going to be wanting to put time into.
So which math course is best?
It's hard to say.
I know a lot of people take 221.
Yeah, 223 is basically 221 for honors students. So I would expect them to go more into proofs. So if that's your thing, if you'd like to be in that sort of environment with comp sci math and stats honors students, then go for that. Math 221 is kind of generally the mainstream linear algebra course to take. I personally felt that 221 was quite easy for me, well, especially compared to Math 200 Calculus 3. Math 221 is kind of like just do practice problems, and the exam will just take those practice problems and change up the numbers and put it on the exam. So I didn't find Math 221 to be all that difficult, although others may disagree. 152 I have no experience in, so I tried looking it up, and it says linear systems. So it looks like they do touch a bit on linear algebra. But it's like a 100 level course, and I don't think you're and I'm not I can't really comment on.
Yeah, it has a lot of restrictions on who can register in it as well. So
there's a reason why we all choose 221.
Yeah.
So just follow the mainstream, you'll be okay.
Yeah.
It's a very straightforward course, and the professor teaches is very straightforward. These exams are very straightforward. And it is very helpful for your other courses.
Yeah.
So the next question is it possible to work in data science with only the BCS degree?
Sorry, can we go back to the 221? We have a question to follow up on that. As to whether or not it's a good chance of 221 being offered in the summer. Summer courses, generally, you can't reliably say yes or no, but the math courses, I'm not too sure.
Well, 221, it's being offered this summer, and it's being offered both terms. So what that tells me is that there's usually sufficient demand and availability of instructors to be able to arrange those courses. So I would say it'll probably, there's a good chance it'll be offered next year. Based on my memory, I think that I've seen some final exams for our previous summer offerings of the course. So I don't think you'd be too worried on that department. But please be aware that the number of seats is limited in the summer sessions. And summer seats can get quite competitive, so please do pay attention to that as well.
And also, as Math 21 is a prerequisite for many courses, if you take that in the summer, that will means you'll not be able to register for the other courses that take it as a prerequisite before you finish the course. So that, for example, so now it's still in summer term 1, but we already finished the registration, or at least opened the registration for the 4 terms. And yeah, so if you don't have 221 under your belt, then you are not going to be able to register for these other upper level courses. So I think we highly recommend to take Maths 221 in your first 2 terms, September or January, just to make sure you can have the ability to register for the upper level courses when the registration opened in June. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so it's possible to work in data science with only BCS degree. I would say yes and no. So data science field is, so for now is a very wide term that seems anything as long as it is related to data, you can call it data science. So I know there are data scientists only with a bachelor degree, which means with a BCS degree you can do that. But also there are data scientist position requiring a PhD degree, or even requiring a PhD in statistics or machine learning. So I would say it's more like it's depending on which exact position in what company that will tell you it's not or not, is enough or not. And the people I met in the industry, usually they will recommend to have a master degree, a master in statistics or master in data science or master in computer science. That being said, if you have enough skill sets, if you have enough experience or projects, then you can prove you are sufficient, you are ready for the job. With a BCS degree is good enough. So I would suggest, and also you can learn quite a bit of stuff from online resources. Now data science is so hot, I know that probably that's also one of the main reasons many of the people choose machine learning or statistics as their bridge module. You just please check online for various data science resources, and there are also online data science master degree that you can take in your spare time. So if you are really interested in data science, you should look into that as soon as possible, and also start working on, like, for example, on Kaggle, those online projects, and get your hands dirty. And once you met the employer, even you are just with a BCS degree, you have things with you, and they can be convinced. And actually, I know a student just got a job, and because he did so many stuff in his free time, and he's from a history major, not even a computer science major. So yeah, good luck.
I can't really comment on this question. Yeah. So work on side projects. Do Kaggle. Study the material on your own, because then you'll be best equipped to, during interviews, to talk about what you've done and showcase your level of sophistication in the area. All right. So I know this topic has been beaten to death, but the response, guys, from a schedule check confused me. Seems we need 6 credits of English. I took an English course to apply. I got in, and I now have English 180 exempted. So Wolfman told me I don't need to take English 112 in first semester. Is he correct? I'm not going to answer this question because my response would be, I would defer to Wolfman. So if you're feeling unsure of his advice, ask him again. He's a very chill guy. but send another email, ask him again, because he is a more authoritative figure on questions like these, on exemptions and registration stuff. So that's my response.
Yeah, I will say that it was expected to have an English course done. So on the website, it says, like, there's the checklist, and the one English, it expects you to have finished, and then you just need the other English. And I believe those 2 English courses go towards your 6 credits. But yeah, that's definitely a Steve Wolfman kind of question, and he is super easy to talk to. If you have questions, just ask him.
Mm-hmm.
So, Eric or anyone exempting cost 200?
I have. I haven't. I'm not myself, but I've heard people exempting the COGS 200. So if you come from a similar background as COGS, or you've taken a course that was similar to COGS 200, which is just an introduction to COGS, you can ask to be exempt from it. And I've heard of people getting it actually exempt. So yeah, it is possible.
But it's not exempt by BCS. It's actually as a prerequisite.
Yeah, it's
cognitive science.
Yeah, so you have to go through the COGS department for that. You can't email the computer science people for that. You go through the COGS, and you have to sort of plead your case to the COGS chair.
Yeah. So this is very much like you want to take some upper level courses, and it's not in the computer science department, and it has some prerequisite which you already have. So you already taken like course 200, and you want to take course 300. You need to go to the course department to tell them, and as well you can prove that. It's very easy. Yeah.
Which comp sci elective courses would be helpful for a front-end developer career? So I guess I could comment on this a little bit, because I did quite a bit of front-end work in my prior software development job, and I would say that it's no electives are really useful in getting a job in that in front-end development. It's mainly working on your own and building up your, developing your skills through your side projects, and developing a portfolio website that your interviewers will be able to see and interact with. I guess you could say 410 might be useful, because that's a software engineering course, and software engineering is good. Comp Sci 344, Intro to Human-Computer Interaction. I feel that the concepts taught in that course might gear more towards like a research level kind of a career, but maybe you'll be able to pick up some useful things from that, because it does involve interface design. How do you develop the best interfaces for people? How do you consider people who with disabilities, people who are visually impaired, those people who are blind? So you could explore the course website for that, and check it out. Other than that, nothing else really comes to mind in terms of comp sci electives that are specifically good for a front-end developer career. I would say it's more so that it's more important for you to work on your skills in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and there's tons of resources online. If you want, I can send you some resources if you get in contact with me. There's tons and tons of resources online.
Also, hackathons are definitely helpful in learning some of the front-end development, because you'll have mentors from the actual industry come in who have worked on front-end, and they'll help teach you things like React. We had a React tutorial for the BCS hackathon. So BCS holds the hackathon every February, March, around that time. So we had React being taught during that one. There's also a bunch of other sort of hackathons around that you can learn front end from. Currently, there is the Computer Science 490, which is a student-directed seminar. It's not a set in stone course yet. It's just being run for the first time this summer, and it's quite difficult to get into. There's only 15 spots available. That could be changing in the future. It might not be offered in the future. It might be offered. It really depends. It's sort of up in the air right now. It's in its trial phase. So that is teaching how to use React. It's teaching how to use Flux, Redux, sort of all of the front end stuff. So you create a front end app.
Yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of online resources. I don't think there's many computer science courses. Computer Science 310 teaches you sort of how to hook a back end, front end up, but not how to do the actual front end development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 490 is a good suggestion. If you, I would say for a front end developer, if you know React or Angular, the latest version, but mainly React, then that's actually quite a marketable skill. And it'll actually make you quite competitive when it comes down to co-op or internship applications. So if you're really interested, then do take a look at React and try to learn it on your own and build neat side projects out of that. Okay. I got my degree in arts. Our Math 300 Stats 200 prerequisites for many 300 and 400 level comp sci courses.
It depends which courses you want to take for the 300 and 400 comp sci. So it is possible to get through without taking Math 200 and Stats 200. It can sort of make it difficult to take certain courses during certain semesters. So you guys probably haven't looked at some of the upper year courses offered this next year, but the second semester, so winter semester 2, I think it's called, it's a lot of graphic and AI type courses the second semester. So you sort of need the math courses for those ones. So it can be a little difficult to find courses that don't require the Math 200 or Stats 200 prereq. It is definitely possible to do it. If you're really nervous about the Math 200 or Stats 200, they are not 100% required for all the upper year computer science courses, but they're definitely helpful to have. They're also not as scary as you might think they are. They're definitely not the easiest courses in the world, but if you set your mind to it, there are definitely resources available. There's the BCS tutors. You guys will have new tutors in the fall. They'll be able to help you with stuff like that. You're going to have all of your BCS friends. A lot of them will be taking the Math 200 and Stats 200, so they'll be able to help you. So if you're really nervous about it, don't be. You're going to have a lot of resources available to you.
Yeah. I like to say that Math 200 is a fair amount of work. Can be a little bit challenging at times, but if you just go through the practice material and commit, be disciplined about it, and commit to regular practice, then you'll be fine. I can't say you'll do spectacular on the final because not very many people do well on Math 200 finals. But they always scale the final by like some massive, ridiculous amount.
So I would not bank on it though. Don't bank on scaling.
Yeah. Try. Do your best. Do your best. But don't panic.
Yeah.
When you do that. Stats 200 is really easy. It's very, very basic. So I guess my answer to this specific question here is they would generally be prerequisites for comp sci courses that are in the scientific computing domain, graphics and gaming. You're definitely going to need that, and machine learning and artificial intelligence. So if those words are sort of like in your plans, in terms of in your career plans, then you're probably going to want to take those. Otherwise, your alternative is software engineering courses, compilers and operating systems, maybe programming language theory, computing theory, but I think those might need Math 200, and then human computer interaction courses. And yeah, so there are other courses that don't require Math 200 and Stats 200, but I would say that they're fairly, if you take them, you'll be in a very flexible position in terms of comp sci elective courses. Right.
How many applications do people send out on average before receiving their first call?
Oh my goodness.
It depends. It really depends. If you have prior experience, you probably aren't going to be sending out as many. You can be a little more picky. If you don't have experience, you can just send them out to absolutely everybody. There's been some people that have sent out 5 or 10 applications and gotten a co-op job. There's been people who have done one interview, gotten that one job. There's been people who have sent out 50 applications. 50 to 100. You know, you can send out a lot. It really depends who else is applying to the jobs you want and sort of what your background is. So John has an entire spreadsheet of all the places he's applied. He's very prepared, just throwing it out there.
I'll give you my stats. Now, please take into context that I did have software development experience prior to going into this program. So please adjust your expectations accordingly. So I applied to about 30 places. I would say about 7 of them were kind of moonshot places like Khan Academy, Tesla, out in the States. I just wanted to give it a try. And then about 20 of them are kind of more realistic, like in local Vancouver stuff. And I applied to places like Yelp, Hootsuite, Mobify, Shopify, RBC, SAP, so your usual ones, and then some startups like Clue, Later, and then others, Trulio, CA Technologies. So a vast array, and through the co-op website as well. I got, based on my stats here, I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, around 5 interviews or technical phone screens, and then the rest were no responses. I went further with 2 companies, Mobify and Hootsuite. Hootsuite said yes, and Mobify wasn't able to finish their entire interview series. They have a series of 4 interviews. What else? Axiom then got back to me last week, interested in an interview, and they were the first company that I applied to. So I had to withdraw my application with them, So that's kind of like my experience with the application process. So there should be no limit to the number of applications you're able to send. You've got to keep on applying and applying and applying. And especially for your first co-op, don't try to be selective, because it's better to have a co-op than to have no co-op, in my opinion, because no matter what that co-op is, it'll actually help you for your next co-op, for your desired co-op, because you have experience to talk about. All right, Ling, do you have any thoughts on that? How many applications people send out?
So like 50 to 100?
Yeah.
Yes, there's no hard number for this because the number is meaningless. It's so personal, right? Mm-hmm. Some people even has 0 application, that because they know someone and they just talk to the manager, and there's a match, so he or she was hired. So honestly, the answer for the question won't help you that much. Mm-hmm. It's all depending on you how to prepare and how well you prepare for the especially interview.
Yeah.
So I know someone who is actually quite qualified, but he's not behaving so well in the interview, then he didn't get a job. And someone with not that good skill sets, but he prepared so well for the interview and he just get in.
Yeah.
So you have to admit there's a little bit of luck there, but in the end is it's just like applying for any job, getting anything you want, like getting into the college maybe, and just applying and supply and demand.
Yeah, I remember I want to mention this. It also will depend on whether you're aiming for 4-month co-ops versus 8-month co-ops. I got rejected from SAP and Visier because they wanted 8-month co-ops. I looked at the posting, they said 8 months, and I thought to myself, okay, I'll just apply anyways and then see if I can negotiate them down to a 4-month co-op. But no, they're actually fairly firm on 8 months. So if you're going for 4-month co-ops, expect to send out a lot more applications because there aren't it's hard to get 4-month co-ops.
Yeah. That being said, there are some postings, some, not all, that will let you negotiate down to 4 months from 8-month co-op. Some places are very flexible, some aren't. So
you'll see when you get to that state. If you want resources on like interviewing, technical interviews or like non-technical interviews, or you want to practice, just let us know, and we could even like do some like technical interviews here in the BCS lounge. So we're fairly open to that. Just give us a poke. I got my degree in arts or math.
We already did that one.
Oh, we already did that.
Yeah. Are there clubs or societies or any other extracurricular activities that are particularly relevant to computer science students? Yes, there used to be the algorithms club.
Study group, yeah, but
I don't know if that's still going on.
No, it's not. There's usually there's like when people get into the term and assignment starts ramping up, that's when participation really drops off. And I've seen us start with like started off with like 12 people, and then it'll go down to 8 people, and then 3 people, and then just like the person who organized it and his friend. So there's that. I guess.
We have the BCS Society, which it's the BCS Society. I'm the social coordinator for it. Shannon's your president for it. Luke's your vice president. Kiki's your treasurer.
Yeah.
We do a lot of social events. We do some academic events. There's some networking opportunities there. So we had our hackathon in February. We'll probably have one next year, which our new execs will take over at that time and run that. And we brought in, I don't remember who all we brought in. We brought in Artific. We brought in Axiom Zen. Oh, I forgot there's a third company.
Yeah.
Oh, apologies.
Yeah, she ran like the React.
Yeah, I can't remember the company.
Yeah.
It was a while ago. Yeah. Anyways, we bring in companies from the industry. They bring mentors. They're very helpful. They teach us a lot of things. You're able to network with them. We had practice interviews with, I believe it was Axiom Zen. Yeah, so there's a lot of sort of fun things that the BCS Society does. I know there's a few other, the CUBE, so the CSSS is the General Computer Science, General Computer Science Society. They do some events too, so there's some networking opportunities there. So yeah, there's a lot of extracurricular activities that if you are interested in, they're definitely there for you to find. We do send out, by we I mean the department, sends out emails about any sort of upcoming events. So if you are a girl in tech, they do a lot of girl in tech things. If you are a supporter of girl in tech, you can also come out to those things. So yeah, there's a lot of different events for you to come to and participate in.
I'd like to mention 2 clubs. These are coding and software engineering clubs at UBC, and one of them is called UBC Launchpad. Don't get that mixed up with the entrepreneurship Lean Launchpad program, but this is a specific club, UBC Launchpad. We're a software engineering club, and we work on a lot of different projects. We have a machine learning team. We have a mobile, like Android, iOS team. We have web development teams, and we have a programming languages team. They're working on creating a new programming language. So those are those. Code to Change is also a similar type of a club. So those clubs I would feel are really great if you want to get involved in side projects. If you want to meet new people who are outside of the BCS program, we get I would also like to mention as well that the UBC Launchpad Club does have a bit of an interview process to get in, and that's because they want the people there to have a sort of minimal level of skill so that they can be productive, and because these are, after all, group projects, and with tech leads, and they want to. They want everybody to have a good experience, it does. And I guess we meet every Saturdays from 11 to 3, and we're expected to put in about 6 hours of work a week. And yeah, so check them out. I'll post a link to their website after this session. But I think those are good in terms of getting started with some personal projects and meeting really great people. These people are they're really involved in other things as well, and they have very impressive profiles. You can ask them about their experiences in internships and applying to jobs, and about other things as well, like resources. So I would encourage you to take a good look at that. We also have another BCS student who's in that club with me, and he built like this little search engine for biomedical journals, which I thought was pretty cool.
And there's also ACM group.
Oh yeah, ACM. Yeah. Oh yeah, the competitive programming group. So think about your technical interviews, but take them to like the nth degree, and you'll come out with the ACM, a competitive programming club. So if you love doing technical interviews as a hobby, you love figuring out, working on puzzles and like really hard things, then give them a poke. Oh yeah, and there's also a machine learning club somewhere. I'll go post a link to the Facebook group there. You could try checking that out. But it does require you actually contributing and working. You can't just join and do nothing. You have to contribute.
And the good part of this, you will receive those information near the starting of the term. Yeah, they will be in your information package. Yeah.
How many co-ops and personal projects do we need under our belt to be eligible for a big N co-op job or company? That also depends. A lot of the big companies like you to have at least one co-op or work experience. It's not necessary though. I know someone who is interviewing at Amazon right now, and they haven't worked in the industry before, but they have quite an impressive resume, and they are very skilled at programming. So they've won a few hackathons, they've done a bunch of stuff. So it really depends what your background is and how well you portray yourself. So it is possible to have 0 co-op terms under your belt. It's possible to have all of the co-op terms under your belt and still not be able to get in. Personal projects are definitely helpful for your first co-op term. I assume they're going to be just as helpful to get into a big company. So
yeah, I would like to say, okay, so I'll add some more details to this question after this session with some helpful things. So to get one of those more competitive positions, first you have to get the interview, and that's through your personal projects, your resume, the experience, like how you sell your experience on your resume. And then the second part is doing well on the interview. So that's so once you pass that initial barrier, it's all about the interview. And so that will test your familiarity with with technical interview questions, your ability to think on the spot, as well as communicate out loud while you're working, and how you interact with the interviewer. So if you want, yeah, it does vary because some people focus on one really heavy, complex project that sounds really impressive, and that gets them through. Or others work on like small projects that are in a lot of different domains, and that's also good as well. I would say what would be helpful is if you go to the UBC Launchpad GitHub repository, and it's a club that I mentioned before, and do the same for Code to Change as well. But look at their GitHub repository, and you'll be able to see a list of members there. And you can click on their profiles and see what kind of side projects they have. And a lot of them will have personal websites as well, so that'll give you some more information. And some of them actually post their resumes on their websites as well, so you can take a look at that. It's not just UBC, but it's also universities all across Canada and the United States. See if you can, through GitHub, see if you can find profiles of other students who have gone on to do internships in those companies, and then you'll get a sense of idea of the amount of work you're going to need to do to be able to be eligible for a big end club or job. So I'll add some links later, and stay tuned for that.
Would a bridging module in stats or Cohort make a person more employable? It really depends what field you want to go into. Bridging modules are going to help you definitely with being able to ace your interviews. But I don't know if they would make you more employable. It really depends.
Yeah, it's if you're applying to machine learning, machine learning positions, having a bridging module in statistics will make you more employable. I think that's a fairly straightforward formula. And I guess if you're interested in business development or product management, then commerce would make a good bridging module.
Yeah.
So it depends on the field that you're planning to go into, the types of jobs that you're planning to go into. Like if you have a bridging module in statistics, you'll be able to comment a lot more on statistics during your interviews, and your side projects will also reflect your interest in statistics, and it'll set you apart. So yeah, it's if you want more specific answers, then you can list out some areas of computer science that you're specifically interested in. But other than that, you'll have to settle with a more general answer like that.
Yeah. I was exempt from Stats 203. Do I need to take Stats 200 not for credit for the purpose of taking upper year level ML courses? To take the upper year machine learning courses, if you've been exempt from Stats 203, you would have to talk to the stats department to see if they'll exempt you from Stats 200 as well. And if they will, then you can take the upper year machine learning courses. I would not suggest taking it not for credit, just because you've already been exempt from it. But if you're really eager to take it, you could contact Steve Wolfman, and he would let you know whether or not you will be able to take it. Generally when you've been exempted from a course, you talk to the department to see if they're going to exempt you from the equivalent course to let you take the upper year courses.
Yeah, I'd like to mention that Stats 200 specifically is a prerequisite for some of the upper level stats courses, not Stats 203. I took Stats 203 in my previous degree, and then I looked at the electives that I wanted to take, and then I realized that some of them were specifically asking for Stats 200 as a prerequisite. So I ended up taking Stats 200. If you can get like an exemption from Stats 200, then that would be great as well. One less course to take.
So how do you feel comparing Stat 200 and Stat 203?
Stats 203, I took it like 5 years ago, and I didn't really pay attention in class because it was fairly light in workload. So I would say Stats 203 is kind of like Stats 200, except it's watered down and diluted. Stats 200 has more content, and yeah. So I'm not even sure if we even. I think we did some like probability in Stats 203 maybe, but it was like very little. So it's quite, yeah. So there you have it.
Yeah, so I learned statistics in my undergraduate. I just see so I didn't think about to try to examine this 200 when I took that, because I think it's as a prerequisite for many courses, so I just took it, and I found out it's just too easy. And yeah, not worth the time. So if you have already learned statistics before, yeah, I strongly recommend you try to examine that, so you can save the time and the credits for other courses. I do want to go back a little bit about this co-op post-objects jobs topic. I feel like from a student perspective, or from all the years we were students, or we are students, we kind of have the impression that if we want to go do something, we have to take this, that, and add them together to reach a certain number. And yeah, once we reach the number, we passed, so we got something. However, in the working environment, it's totally different. It's not about number. Numbers are meaningless. It's more about your actual skill sets and your actual quality, and especially how the potential employers think about you. You can be very good, but maybe during the interview or maybe during the interaction, they just don't think you are a good fit to their culture, to their team, or maybe the manager feel like more towards another candidate to comparing you, even you are better in maybe in all rounds, but still. So this is not a number game. It's more like a matching game. You can think about this like you're finding a girlfriend or boyfriend, or this kind of thing, because it's involving people. It's involving people who you may work together in the future, and involving people who are building stuff that you may be interested in, or they want you, or they want other people in. So I would say don't think this as a number game. Think it more like actual real scenario that you try to be good as possible, developer or employee. And so bridging modules are more like it's just courses. People without statistics or commerce courses can still be employed as statistics or commerce like businessman. So yes, it's not a number game. It's not something you collect things and you pass a deadline or pass a threshold, you get successful. Yeah, it's trying to be better by practice. So I know there's one student has no co-op term, has no internship term, and his only highlight is contributing to an open source project, which his dream company use a lot. And he just got in by this because that company is a very big internet security company, and this company is using this open source project, and he is a contributor to this project. And they saw this, they hired him. Very easy, right? So yeah, it's all up to you, and try to look for as many resources online to see what path and what direction exactly fits you. Because if you don't like the job, even if you get in, you will feel suffering, and that's true.
Yeah, you don't want to become disillusioned after entering the computer science workforce and say, "Oh crap, I made a mistake," you know. So please do some soul searching, some reflection, figure out what you what you value in life, and see how a computer science career aligns with those values.
Yes. So I think we're close to we already passed the.
Can we address this one last?
Yeah. One last
question?
one?
Yeah.
Okay, which one? There's two there.
Well, this one I thought we answered right, like just before. Yeah. Oh, this one's in the header section, so it's appearing in all the pages. Yeah. So this one would be the last. So this one was like one that's posted on the YouTube chat channel. And it's asking, within the companies you have worked with, are there specific departments dedicated to human-computer interaction, and more particularly inclusive design? Have we worked with? In my prior job, it was a digital health startup of about 12 people, so we didn't really have the funds available to have a department dedicated to HCI. Inclusive design, inclusive design is kind of a general skill set that is expected of front-end developers. And it's not necessarily something that comes from like a department. Well, in my experience, maybe in the bigger companies, they'll have specific departments working on that. But I know that front-end developers in the industry, it's pretty important, and it's a way to stand out as well during interviews. It's really important to take into account inclusive design when you're developing interfaces. So there's specific techniques they can use to cater to different populations, and having an eye for that is actually a very, very good sign, because not everybody pays attention to that. Everybody designs for like the perfect user who's like young and has perfect vision and whatever. But consideration of these edge cases is really important, because it's we have different kinds of people using our software. So there's a lot of resources on inclusive design that you can look up, and I encourage you definitely to work on them. But are there specific departments? Not to my knowledge, from my experience of working in one company. So yeah.
So I would say there are teams specific to this, but there won't be a department doing this kind of stuff, because it's more like a branch of the job, right? And I think maybe you're asking whether you can just go in through this direction of the career path that dedicated to HCI, and that will be, as John mentioned, will be highly encouraged, because HCI right now is very important for the product development, especially in the mobile and in the cloud side. Yeah.
Okay, so I guess that's all.
So I think that's all for today, and also all for our YouTube live sessions. Yeah, you can. So all these sessions will be recorded and posted online, so you can check later. And if you, okay, so if you have any more questions, you can keep posting them to this Google Doc, and we also upload this Google Doc to the Piazza as an archive.
Yeah, you can always ask the questions either on Facebook or on the Piazza.
Yeah.
People like the Piazza page and the general Facebook page. They're both open to alumni and current students. Yeah. So you're going to have a whole bunch of people being able to answer all these questions from a lot of different backgrounds.
Yeah, people are very helpful in the BCS program.
So let's answer one last question about the experience about how to get exempt from math and statistics. So I got exempt from math one. So all the one level math, not just one. So when I registered for the math 200, usually require like math one whatever call it. So I provided a transcript from my bachelor degree, and I said that I have learned this high so-called college math, and they just get through. And I believe that even if I want to exam for the math 200, which I actually learned during my bachelor degree, it'll be okay. So yeah, if I have transcript, that will be the best proof.
Yeah, you can also just contact the departments, like the math department has, I think it's Leon, I think that's who it is. You just contact the department, you say that you have taken these courses, and then they'll tell you exactly what they want. They'll say send a transcript or send, a description of what the course was. So for mine, it was just a description of what the course was. So yeah, they're very friendly people. Everyone here seems to be friendly. So it just, you ask your question and they're more than happy to help. So
they're here to help you, and if they think you are valid, your reason is valid, they will support. So yeah, don't be afraid.
All right.
Okay, I think that's comes to the end.
Yeah.
So
see you guys in September.
Yeah, see you guys in September.
Yeah. Feel free to drop by the BCS Lounge. We're usually here. And say hi. We're very friendly, and ask us more questions.
For those of you who aren't aware, ICI
Okay.